Hello and welcome to an episode of Historically Marked. I am Jason in Jefferson County, Missouri at the Sandy Creek Covered Bridge State Historic Site, and behind me is one of four still standing covered bridges in Missouri in the entire state. And there's lots to explain, and there's historical markers that tell all about it. So I'm going to go ahead and show you around. Here we go. So there's a lot of grilling areas and picnic benches and lots of places to park, as you can see. There's the bridge, and there are the historical markers just right over there. And these were all put up by the Missouri Department of Natural Resources. Alright, so this is where I'm at, the Sandy Creek Covered Bridge State Historic Site. Close-up photo of the bridge. And here's the history. So Sandy Creek Covered Bridge is one of three historic Howe-truss bridges in Missouri. The bridge is 74 feet, 6 inches long, and 18 feet, 10 inches wide, with an endurance height of 13 feet. The original bridge was built in 1872 by John Hathaway Morse and was named for the creek it spans. In May 1886, high water destroyed the bridge, and the county court ordered it rebuilt in August of the same year. Henry Steffen, who was awarded the contract to rebuild the bridge, used half the original timber to complete the reconstruction of a cost of $899. So this bridge was part of a county building program that was begun in Jefferson County after the Civil War. In 1869, work started on the Hillsboro and Lee Ferry gravel road, which was planned to connect the Jefferson County seat of Hillsboro with St. Louis County. By spring of 1872, the road was complete to the vicinity of the Sandy Creek crossing. On May 28, 1872, John Hathaway Morse, president of the House Springs Big River Valley Macadamized and Gravel Road Company, proposed to the county court that the creek be spanned with a wooden covered bridge. He was awarded the contract to build the bridge based on his proposed cost of $2,000. By the late 1800s, the Lee Ferry Road had become a major roadway through Jefferson County. On this 1898 plat map, the road runs diagonally across the page with a Sandy Creek covered bridge crossing the river on land owned by R. Smith. The exact location is indicated by an arrow. Okay, that's cool. I'm glad they kind of explain things. So that takes you to St. Louis. All right. Fast forward to 1967, the Missouri General Assembly passed an act declaring all remaining covered bridges in the state to be state historic sites and under the care of the public state park system. At that time, Sandy Creek Covered Bridge had a roof covered with galvanized corrugated metal, unpainted replacement white pine side panels, and concrete piers in the creek bed. In 1968, Jefferson County released the bridge to the state of Missouri. On July 8, 1970, the bridge was officially listed on the National Register of Historic Places and later designated a state historic site. The bridge was restored to its original appearance through a major restoration project that was completed in the summer of 1984. The bridge is only open to pedestrian traffic. To ensure its continued preservation, Sandy Creek Covered Bridge State Historic Site is administered and maintained by the Missouri Department of Natural Resources Division of State Parks. Now this talks more about the construction and just a little bit of, like the bridge deck and how it was remade and everything. So I'm going to go ahead and go on the other side. And this talks more about why restore a covered bridge. Well, that's a good question. Now, quite a few people have asked that question when plans were made to start restoration on Sandy Creek Covered Bridge. Some of the more important reasons include the following. Many covered bridges are architecturally unique. The bridge is one of three Howe-truss bridges remaining in Missouri. Okay. The covered bridges were an important innovation in transportation in this country. A covered wooden bridge lasted longer, was stronger, and more reliable than the uncovered variety. Some covered bridges are still in service after more than 100 years. And they're an important part of our history and our heritage. Alright, so this talks about the 1886 reconstruction and the 1952 reconstruction. Now this had no piers or vertical supports positioned under the bridge. Huh, that's interesting. But because of frequent exposure to natural and man-made disasters, the bridge underwent major repairs in 1940 and 1941. and restoration in 1952 by the Jefferson County Chamber of Commerce. Since 1872, the bridge had been in continuous use except for repairs and reconstruction. And then 1984 is the one I'll be going on. But in 1981, this bridge was deemed unsafe and closed due to damage from flooding, motor vehicles, and vandalism. Now, interestingly, this covers a lot about the history of covered bridges. I can use cover twice in the same sentence. But a little background on covered bridges. They have existed for nearly all of man's recorded history. Ancient Babylonians are credited with having erected the first such structure over the Euphrates River about 783 before Christ. It continued to be a popular bridging method, with similar bridges becoming common throughout medieval Europe. Yet it was not until the 19th century in America that the covered bridge idea reached its highest degree of use and design variation. At the turn of the 20th century, the steel and iron industry began to boom in the United States. It greatly influenced bridge design. Engineers began to rely less on wooden bridge structures and more on modern metals, as I know a lot of you are familiar with today. Like if you're going across a bridge or the river or on the freeways and all that. But combined with heavier rail and truck shipments and higher levels of traffic, wooden bridges became obsolete. The few wooden bridges that remained were often bypassed with new roads and metal bridges. Like here's one in Rushville, Indiana, the Circleville Bridge from 1883, and that's what it looks like now. And I know that I explained this in my past covered bridge videos, but the many nooks and crannies in an uncovered bridge trap dirt and moisture. This was ideal for decay of the timbers. Uncovered bridges exposed to the elements had a normal life expectancy of around 10 years. Covered bridges were roofed over to increase their longevity by protecting the trusses from the elements. As one contemporary expressed it, bridges were covered for the same reasons women wear petticoats, to protect their underpinnings. Other advantages also resulted, such as the barn-like structures helped reassure farm animals about to cross. The roof structures served as emergency shelters. The covering added to the strength of the bridge, reducing the sag and creaking commonly found in uncovered wooden bridges. And then this is a drawing of ladies ice skating in the late 1800s. To go with why women wore petticoats. And not surprisingly, a lot of these covered bridges had tolls. This explains more about the tolls and all the posters, or advertising. And then this column talks about the basic truss designs for covered bridges, like king post, queen post, warren, truss design, variation, and how they built the bridge. And then the genealogy of Howe-truss design. So, covered bridges, in other words, are not created equal. I'll just go ahead and give you a little shot of that. Finally, the last column states about the covered bridges left in Missouri. So this is, again, one of 4, and around 30, there was at one time 30 covered bridges. Well, obviously they were all gone by the 1960s, but here is in Missouri. The covered bridge was first used in the 1850s, when roads, railroads, and overland transportation in general became a practical and important mode of travel. The first covered bridge in the state was built in 1851 in Boone County over Perch Creek on the Boone's Lick Trail. Eventually, 30 covered bridges were built in Missouri. Most of these were constructed in northern Missouri in the years just after the Civil War. But as we all know, I mean, ravages of time and progress took their toll on Missouri's covered bridge population. Flood, fire, and rerouting, and heavy traffic, and neglect, and all major other factors. And then here are the 4 covered bridges left in Missouri. This, of course, is the one I'm at, Sandy Creek. But there's some more. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm not going to go into all the details in all of them, but this is the Union Covered Bridge, which is in central Missouri. Let's see. Where is it located? Okay, it's southwest. It's 8 miles southwest of Paris, Missouri, in Monroe County. So here is Locust Creek Covered Bridge. That one is still standing. That is in between Laclede and Meadville, Missouri. That's like around, yeah, up there, if that tells you anything. Lastly, this is south, not too far from Sykeston, Missouri, the Burfordville Covered Bridge. It's also at the Bollinger Mill Historic Site. And then here is just a map of all the Missouri state parks and historic sites. It'll be cool to visit all these, and a few of them I've done episodes on already, including the Battle of Athens, the Confluence Point State Park, and there's many more to cover. All right, now we're going to explore the bridge. All right, so now we are about to go into the bridge area, and to the right of me are some more picnic areas. This park is actually bigger than I imagined. And there is a sign that says graffiti is banned and subject to law. That is good, but we shall see if people have actually followed that rule. And again, pedestrians are welcome. And first, I want to get a little glimpse of the Sandy Creek. Very nice, very peaceful. Lots of little fishies in the water. All right, and the smell is really cool. It smells like going into a Lowe's or a hardware store for that matter. Now I don't see any graffiti. I mean, I see some initials carved, but that's about it. Now I've done 4 covered bridge episodes in the state of Illinois, and if you watched all of them, you'll know right away they were all vandalized with graffiti. And that's very unfortunate. Oh, I see something up there. But this one looks really decent compared to all those. And I can tell there's some cameras up there. So yeah, very cool. I do not know where this road leads to, but I can tell there are some nature trails around this park, and yeah, that is definitely a nature trail, but where it leads, I don't know. Maybe somebody can help me out in the comments. And here's another nature trail right down here as you get off the bridge. It can take you closer to the creek. I think that's what I'm going to do. So as you're descending from down there, just be very careful. It's uneven surface, of course, and a lot of rocks. But this is the first covered bridge where I can actually walk underneath it. How about that? I imagine a lot of families take their kids down here and play in the water, assuming it's safe. But yeah, this is so cool. The Sandy Creek. I don't really see very much sand though. And here's just a shot of the bridge from underneath. So yeah, very cool. Alright, thanks so much for tuning into this episode of Historically Marked. Another Covered Bridges edition, my first one in Missouri. I would love to check out the other 3 historic covered bridges sometime in the future. Don't know when, but I'm sure it's going to happen sometime. So, alright, I am Jason at the Sandy Creek Covered Bridge State Historic Site in Jefferson County, Missouri, signing off.